Ah, can you smell that, my friends? Can you feel it in the air? Pumpkin guts, syrupy, fake blood, the restless spirits of ghosts ready to possess the stupid and unprepared. Ah, Halloween is here and I am at my full power. Oh, much better. As Halloween power floods my veins, the rest of the Access team have rightly gone into hiding to avoid my superior evolution. Whilst I can't say I blame them, the craven fools, I am going to take this opportunity to call them out in this lovely list format, since there are plenty of terrifying enemies from horror games that have got us running like cowards in the opposite direction. Ah, yes, that's precisely what's happened here too. Oh, I'm so great and scary. Right, I'm going to start this list by fulfilling the Access monthly quota of Bloodborne mentions and slap brainsuckers down on the table. Yeah, of all the massive, horrifying bosses, deadly beasts, and powerful mobs, it is the puny freaks with a bad tendency for slurping their food that takes the crown of illusion on this one. Always the ones you least expect, eh? Brainsuckers are those tentacle-headed fellas that skulk about looking like Cthulhu scholars for the most part, but any seasoned Bloodborne player knows these slimy baddies are not to be messed with. Brainsuckers, as the name suggests, have a special attack that allows them to suck on your brains. This steals precious insight, an invaluable resource you have to monitor carefully in the process. Whilst they may not look as terrifying as other entries to come on this list, the cold sweat from thinking about dropping 2 insight to an octopus monk from a botched dodge is perhaps the most scary thought of all. May you never run into one of these guys in a dark alley, or a dark, towering castle full of extraterrestrial horrors either. Sometimes we run from enemies not just because we are cowards, but because they are indestructible forces of death that the game simply won't allow you to kill. Also, sometimes it's both, as Alien Isolation humbly reminds us. Nothing wrong with calmly accepting the xenomorph will savage you whilst also running and screaming and crying and throwing up in the opposite direction. I really don't think I need to go into too much detail on this one, to be honest. It's a xenomorph. It's a hulking alien monster with 2 jaws, acid blood, and an intelligent AI system that is constantly edging closer to wherever you might be pathetically hiding. Running will not save you from its perfectly honed apex predator senses, but that doesn't mean we haven't all tried it in some desperate bid to escape a truly gruesome death. And failed miserably, of course. Just remember, honeys, flamethrowers are a girl's best friend.
I'm the boss! I'm the boss!
Yes, I am about to talk to you about a pixel art game, and yes, that does mean it's just a bunch of squares kind of pushed together into a vaguely spooky shape. But, viewer, please. Lamentum is like walking through all the horrors of a H.P. Lovecraft novel as found in Pac-Man's dreams. It is just the right mix of weird and scary. Victor wakes up to find his wife missing and the manor he's staying in positively crawling with otherworldly abominations. One's intent on tearing him apart, or eating him, or generally causing unrecoverable bodily harm to. You know how abominations get. This melding of his reality with a bloody vision of somewhere else results in all sorts of catastrophic transformations, with one of the most disturbing being poor old Lord Wesley. You eventually find the man giving into a mysterious force taking over his body that gives him the power to walk again. But 8 legs are better than 1, hey? So Lord Wesley becomes a horrible hell spider boss that you have to kill or outwit to climb out of the basement to safety. And with no glass jar to trap him in, you better believe I was out of there faster than he can say, please stop making arachnid bosses, they are really scary, please and thank you. It's no surprise that Resident Evil makes the list now, is it? With everything from the Regenerators in Resi 4 to Mr. X in Resi 2 to yet more spider-person horrors from Marguerite in Resi 7, no thank you, there's plenty to find in every title if you're brave enough to go looking. The only one we haven't run away from is Lady Domitresque. Quite the opposite. But it is another Resident Evil Village villain that takes the fleshy little crown on this one. We have spoken about The Baby previously. But goddamn is it a masterpiece of horror writing. Defenseless in the basement of House Beneviento, the lights go out and a big horrible slug with a face comes in. Honestly, when I first saw this baby creature, I ran so fast and so well, I had no idea it even had a death mechanic tied to it. Only later did I realise the thing can swallow you whole like a sweaty little oyster as well. Good, great, makes the whole thing much more terrifying. As if being chased by a screaming hemorrhoid isn't enough on its own.
Yummy.
According to my bewebbed little friend here, being small is very scary. I would not know, as I'm very tall and imposing, at least with my boots on. But apparently, from down below, the smaller you get, the scarier it is. You really are very small, Delcy. So, being a toddler trapped in a waking demonic nightmare would hit new highs on the scare-o-meter, as evidenced in the underrated horrors of Among the Sleep. Here, you play as a little boy lost in a strange world after waking up in the dead of night. The familiar becomes unfamiliar as you journey through dilapidated playgrounds and overgrown bogs, slowly instilling a growing sense of dread with each new environment you venture into, even with a talking bear for company.
Hey, you found me.
This culminates with the appearance of Hyder. And hide, is definitely what you want to do. Seeing this blackened, tree-like monster roaming the wilderness renders your child protagonists so afraid their vision blurs, which only makes everything worse, to be honest. Hyder hunts you down in various sequences, forcing you to run, if you're smart, to find somewhere to sit and pray she doesn't find you as she stomps across the map with her nasty tree feet. Look at her, she's horrible. The whole premise of Outlast is run away and hide material. Just ask Dave. Throw in the lumbering presence of Chris Walker that can smite you down in one go and you're in for one hell of a stressful time. To put it bluntly, Walker puts the Massive in Mount Massive Asylum, a bigger, stronger and more deadly force than any of the other patients or inmates besides the Wall Rider itself. A hulking slab of muscle and flesh, but not all of his skin, Walker pursues Miles throughout Outlast attempting to brutally murder him, which is made clear by all the beheadings the guy's done in the run-up to Miles' arrival. Nothing like a spot of interior decorating, eh? Seeing Walker means it's time to hop in a locker or under a bed, or more accurately, flee down the corridor with your quivering video recorder in hand in true found footage, shaky cam style. When they said smile for the camera, they did not mean like this, Walker. To finish us off then, I have got one sticky dude. I don't know his name, I just call him Tarman, because he's a man that's made of tar. Not the Scooby-Doo villain though. Tarman lives in Visage, a nasty little horror game that sees you trapped in a haunted house out to scare you to death with a range of stalking entities. Throughout the game, you'll face off against the likes of a creepy old woman, a little girl without half a face, and a particularly angry man on crutches, as well as supernatural entities like a doll-faced demon and its mate, Tarman. Tarman is perhaps the best of these because of his parameters for cropping up. Nasty, gooey stains start manifesting on the walls, growing larger and larger when you're not looking, until eventually they're big enough to act as a doorway for this slick and slimy fella that's quite happy to stare you in the face as he chokes the life out of you. Seeing the lights flicker and his nasty little body start poking out of the wall is genuinely a terrifying moment, one that can happen at any time thanks to Visage's randomly generated scares. Makes you assess how clean your house is when you know what damage black mold can really do, hey? And there you have it. Those are 7 pant-wetting enemies that never fail to have us bravely running away. Which of these monsters most scares you? Or do you have another entry you think should be up here? Let us know in the comments below. As always, this has been PlayStation Access. I have been Ash. Don't forget to subscribe for more PlayStation goodness, and we'll see you again very soon. Thanks for watching.
PlayStation